Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo of Doc Sports here with your NFL Week 1 opening line report. Be sure to go to docsports.com for all of your sports handicapping needs. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe to Doc Sports YouTube channel, and you'll be alerted every time a new video, free play, analysis video, breakdown, us just saying hi. Anytime we post a new video at Doc Sports, you will get it immediately. Nothing better than that. Actually, there is something better than immediate, and that's free. So go down in the description, click on that free 60 link. That link down there in the description will take you to Doc Sports and give you $60 in your account to be used, same as cash, towards any handicapper, any sport, any package that you want. But look, if you're watching an NFL Week 1 opening line report, we know what you're here for. Okay, we both know what's going on here. Neither one of us needs to play coy. You want NFL football. I want NFL football. It's been, 7 months? But it's back. Here we are, Week 1. Last week in college football, I did have a winning week in football, my 4th straight winning week. And I had a larger than normal card, and I put a note right on the top of it. We release our plays at Docs Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So when my clients got the card, I had a note. I was like, look, I've been staring at these lines for months. I've been breaking down these games for months. This is going to be a little bit larger than average card. I'm feeling the same way about the NFL. Honestly, I've been staring at these numbers since like late June. I've gone both ways on some games, which I can throw out. Some games I've known since July 4th who I was going to bet. I have bet my own money on some of these games already. So let's dive into the numbers. I'm not going to totally deep dive every single one of these games, but we're at least going to look at the number, where it opened, where it's at, where we think it's going, and why. Okay? So first game on the docket, opener of the NFL season, is Dallas plus 8.5 at Philadelphia. Now, any of you that watch Docs Daily or What Are the Odds, which is my video with Rafael Esparza every Friday at 2 o'clock, you guys know that I was right and Rafael's wrong. And I just love saying that. I hope he's watching this video right now. I was right, he was wrong. This number was at 7, Philadelphia minus 7, before the Micah Parsons trade. And I predicted the day of that trade that this number would get to 8, that everybody and their sister was going to jump on the Eagles. Not even so much because Micah Parsons was such a difference maker. He might not even have played for them, even if they didn't trade them. But it is just a wave of anti-Cowboys sentiment that is flying towards Dallas and flying towards this game. Who wants to be holding a Dallas Cowboys ticket right now, right? If they go out and lose 34-7, who wants to be the schmuck that's like, oh yeah, I put $500 on Dallas, plus 8, plus 7.5. Now, I'm not making a value judgment on whether that's where the money should go now, frankly. Number opened at 7, division rivalry, opening game. Micah Parsons probably wasn't going to play, so that's been kind of baked into this number, at least over the past few weeks. We're above all the key numbers. Is there value on Dallas? I will break that down in other videos a little later in the week. I'm just saying this is a big mover, and I don't know that it's going to stop. I would not expect a buyback on Dallas, even at 8.5. I don't think that's high enough. I think as we get closer to kickoff, it's Tuesday now, which I apologize for the late video. This video will come out on Mondays moving forward. But with the holiday, that's the way it goes. I don't expect a huge buyback on the Cowboys, though. I think this number is going one way and one way only. Now, normally we get the Thursday game, and then we got to wait all the way until Sunday to really dive into the pool of NFL action. Not so this week. They were kind enough to give us a Brazil game, and a good one. Kansas City at the LA Chargers. Well, versus the LA Chargers, because as I mentioned, this game is being played on a neutral site in Brazil. I don't love Week 1 divisional games. I really do enjoy how the NFL kind of backloaded the schedule, where now a lot of December games, particularly late December games, are divisional games. I enjoy that. I don't love divisional games in Week 1. And the Chargers are kind of getting the shaft here because they lose a home game, basically. Kansas City is minus 3 in this game, and that makes perfect sense. They've won 7 straight. They are the defending AFC champions, although Super Bowl losers in week 1 have traditionally not been a very good bet. Super Bowl losers in the month of September, frankly, have not been a great bet. But Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they kind of defy the laws of gambling mathematics in the same way that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick used to. So I would kind of throw that out the window. I will say this, though, that this Chiefs-Chargers series is becoming like the AFC West version of the Steelers-Ravens. You remember for a solid decade there, every time the Steelers and Ravens would play, the number would be right around 3, and someone would win by a field goal, seemingly every game, right? Well, that's what this is kind of turning into. Of the last 7 wins by the Chiefs, 4 of them have been by 3 points or less. And in the last 10 meetings between these two teams, only 2 of them have been decided by more than a touchdown. So a lot of close games. And that's a Harbaugh thing, too, right? Like, he wants to win with running and defense and grind it down. The problem is Kansas City plays that way as well. And I also give them the benefit of just, this is a big situation, Friday night, standalone, outside of the country. There's just a lot more moving parts than if this was just a home opener for the Chargers at Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So Kansas City, by virtue of all their championship games, their season openers, their Super Bowls, I just feel like they're going to be a little bit better prepared for this game. So I would not be surprised to see this number move off the 3. But if it does, I'm curious to see if there will be a little bit of buyback on the Chargers because of what I mentioned, how many close games there has been between these two squads. All right, jumping into Sunday, the first game on the docket, we have the Steelers -2.5, -3. That's what jumped out at me about this game, is that the Steelers are now -2.5 at probably half the books. Those ones that are holding out at -3, I wouldn't be surprised if they would move. They are at the Jets in this game. Now, the Steelers, this is like the incest game, right? Like the incest bowl, because Justin Fields was the quarterback in Pittsburgh last year. Now he's the quarterback of the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers was with the Jets last year, and he's the quarterback of the Steelers. In fact, Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback last year when Pittsburgh maimed the Jets 37-15 as an underdog. This is actually the 3rd meeting between these two teams since 2022, and the underdog has won both of them. So that kind of bodes well if you like the Jets here. The Jets looked pretty good in the preseason. Aaron Glenn has them all rowing in the right direction, at least to start the season. Whether or not they have the talent, whether or not Justin Fields can overcome what could be a potentially dominant Steelers defense, we don't know. But what is interesting about this game is that the numbers open at -3, 75% of the action is on the Steelers. I think that will be even more lopsided action towards Pittsburgh. But the number's coming down. It's moved off that key number. And home dogs under 2.5 are usually a pretty good bet. So we'll see what this number does between Tuesday and Sunday morning. All right, next game we got Miami plus half a point, basically at a pick against Indianapolis. And this is one I know a lot of people are just thrown away who wants to jump on either one of these bandwagons, right? I will say 2/3 of the action is coming in on Miami, closer to 70% in this game is coming in on Miami. But it's not like they haven't had an offseason full of tumult and just weird off-the-field distractions, and they seem to be a team trending in the wrong direction. On the other hand, you have the Colts, who pretty much the same thing, right? Like, if not for the Browns and Saints, like was this August the worst preseason of NFL quarterback competitions in NFL history? I think it might have been. Like, that 3-headed abortion that was going on in New Orleans was its own thing. You had 4 guys in Cleveland, none of whom should be starting in the NFL. And then we had Anthony Richardson, decidedly not an NFL quarterback, against Daniel Jones, barely an NFL quarterback. Of course, Jones won the starting gig, but are you in a hurry to bet on him in his home opener with his new team, the Indianapolis Colts? Now, do have to point out that the Colts did beat the Dolphins last year on October 20th. So this game's at a pick 'em, and that feels about right for where these two franchises, organizations, and rosters are at. All right, Carolina plus 3.5 at Jacksonville. Another game that moved off a key number. Over 75% of the action is coming in on Jacksonville. Big public play here. And they wrote enough tickets, the sports books that is, and took enough liability on Jacksonville that they moved it off that key number. They moved it from 3 to 3.5, which that's kind of the opposite of the way the narrative has gone for these two teams throughout the summer, where June and July, May, June, and July, Carolina buzz team, right? They were going to build on what they were able to accomplish at the end of last season, which was impressive, going 7-2 against the spread. They obviously played better. I would say it was still barely competent football. But Jacksonville is decide taking all the action in this game, and that number has moved from 3 to 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit 4 before kickoff. Another big mover is this next game, the New York Giants, plus 6 at Washington. The handicapper red flags are blaring at this game, okay? This line opened up with Washington 7.5, minus 7.5, okay? At home, buzz team in the NFC Championship game last year, upgraded the roster, bringing in the veterans, Tunsil, Debo, guys in the draft. Everybody's sleeper pick all summer, Washington. They're in the top 10 of every power rankings that you can find anywhere online. Who's not backing Washington in this game? Let's be real, right? Taking majority action, and this line has moved 1.5 points. Was it just the Giants preseason that did it? I don't think so. They weren't that good. Jackson Dart played well in the preseason, but he's not starting in this game, so he has no impact on it. Sharp money is coming on New York in this game, and I got to tell you, I kind of like it. I loved this number at plus 7. Did my NFC East preview video on Doc Sports. You can go back, you can find it. I was with Strike Point Sports doing this, and we both said that we liked this play back in July, that we liked the Giants plus 7. So it makes sense that this number is coming down, but it's a reverse line movement. I think we're going to continue to get majority action on Washington. I don't think this number is going to come down anymore, but it still can't be any more of a red flag, really. Washington, there's going to be a lot of survivor liability on them. Like, the public is going to be all over the Commanders, and this number is going the opposite way as expected. Now, a number going exactly the way that everyone should have expected it is Cincinnati is now minus 5.5 at Cleveland. This number I expect to continue up. This line opened with Cleveland minus 4.5. Uncertainty around the Bengals. Are they going to are they going to extend T. Higgins? Are they going to hold on to Trey Hendrickson? Have they done enough to shore up their defense and offensive line? This number was 4.5. It's now 5.5 because it's the same thing that I mentioned before. Like, who wants to have a Cleveland Browns ticket right now, right? They're kind of like the Cowboys. They're radioactive. There's nobody running to the window to jump on the Browns. Now, normally, 5 is an underdog indicator line in the NFL. If you see a number of 5, my handicapper brain instantly goes to the underdog. It's just a weird, quirky number, and throughout my 20 years in the industry, that's what I have determined. This one I think will make it to 6, probably make it to 6.5. We mentioned that Chiefs-Chargers series and how that's become really close games, 4 out of the last 7 determined by 3 points or less. Yeah, it's the opposite in the Bengals-Browns. These games are almost always blowouts. Cincinnati has won 4 of the last 5. The favorite has covered 5 straight. And 6 straight games in this series have been decided by a touchdown or less. The majority of these games are decided by double digits. So if you like the Bengals, lay the points. Don't worry about the number. Unless it lurches up to 9.5, which it's not going to. If you like the Bengals, take it. If you like Cleveland, though, I would think about that money line bet. Because, as I said, these two teams don't play a lot of close games. And this is a game I can see Cleveland winning outright. Now, I'm not betting on Joe Flacco. I think he's a bum. I think he's been done for 8 years. Like, I have no interest in Cleveland. I probably would have, even if they had started one of the rookies. I might have liked the Browns getting a boatload of points in this game. But I don't think there's a number high enough that would make me take the Browns. And I think that's the problem that the books are running up against. And that's why I anticipate this number will continue to climb on Cincinnati. All right, Las Vegas plus 2.5 at New England. Now, again, curious, right? Reverse line movement here. 70% action on the Patriots, who are at home, who have been a huge buzz team over the last 4 months. Who doesn't think the Patriots are going to be better this year? You got a lot of people predicting that the Patriots will go over their season win total and maybe even be the second best team in just a putrid AFC East. That's an admittedly low bar to clear. But everything that you've heard about the Patriots, positive, 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 right? The number's dropping. This number was at 3.5. It's now down to 2.5. It's crossed that key number. I don't think I trust either one of these teams laying points because they're still two of the worst teams in the NFL, even if they have both improved. Both have new coaches, both have new systems. A lot of moving parts here. But it feels like the books are baiting action, even though they've already taken over 70% of the action on the Patriots here. What it means is that the small money has come in on New England, the public, and the big money, the sharp money, has come in on Vegas. Is that a little hometown loving? I don't know. But this is definitely a line movement to keep an eye on and to factor into your handicapping. All right, the biggest mover of week one, which you always have one, right? You always have one or two games that move 3 or 4 points. And again, I'm doing this video on Tuesday. Some of these still may move a few more points. But the big mover at this station is Arizona minus 6.5 at New Orleans. This line opened minus 3.5. Obviously, the market doesn't love Spencer Rattler. Now, New Orleans is one of those teams. They're probably the worst team in the NFL. I'm finishing my NFL power rankings. I still have a little bit of shuffling to do. You can find those at Doc Sports on Thursday. Throughout the season, they'll be released on Tuesdays at Doc Sports, jam-packed of analysis and information, both looking backward at the previous week and forward to the upcoming week. That's something that you should definitely put on your radar. But I'm probably going to have New Orleans as the worst team in the NFL, even though I don't necessarily feel like... Look, they're going to be bad because of their quarterback situation. Okay, Tyler Shaw is not an NFL caliber quarterback. He's barely a CFL caliber quarterback. The fact that he even pushed Spencer Rattler is a bad sign for Spencer Rattler, who was really bad for them last year. Now, throughout the 17 games of this season, that poor quarterback play and their complete lack of depth on both sides of the ball is really going to hurt the Saints. That being said, they're starting 22 with everyone healthy right now. It's not the worst I've seen. I'm not going to lie. They have some dudes on both sides of the ball. Alvin Kamara will probably get 25 touches in this game. You want to be out in front betting against him, right? Rashid Shaheed is healthy. Chris Olave is healthy until he gets his next concussion that will probably end his career. Brandon Cooks is there as your third receiver for whatever that means. Their offensive line, a lot of first-round draft picks on that offensive line. That's all healthy. They're veterans on defense. Healthy. Okay? They're not going to be healthy all year. They're going to get beaten up. They're going to get worn down. They're going to get broken down. And then the levee... Oh, sorry, but I have to say it. The levee's going to break for New Orleans. I swear to God, I did not plan that. That was not like a pre-written joke. That literally was just one of those things that happened. So sorry, I'm not trying to be insensitive here. That wasn't a Hurricane Katrina joke. I swear to you on my life. But anyway, once injuries start to crop up, things are going to get bad for New Orleans. Okay? They have the worst quarterback situation. They have the worst roster depth. But week one at home against Arizona, a team that I would not trust any further than I could punt, is 6.5 enough points to grab here. This is another one of those games. Like, we see week one upsets all the time. Okay, how many people, raise your hand if you've been bounced out of a survivor pool in week one because some 7, 8, 9 point underdog wins outright. So I'd be careful how much trust we all put in Arizona heading into week one, laying almost a touchdown. Will that number continue to creep higher? I don't know. I don't know how much trust the market has in the Cardinals. Now, a line that we've had a lot of movers that we've talked about over these last few games. A line that has held firm all offseason. Tampa Bay minus 2.5 at Atlanta. Again, the books are like Atlanta's at home. Tampa Bay is the better team. You're not getting a field goal and home field advantage. Play it or not. Tampa Bay -2.5. That's it. Now, Tampa Bay favored to win the division. Atlanta, I don't love the fact that they didn't play their starters at all during the preseason. We'll see if that comes out to bite them with a slow start in week 1. We still don't know who Michael Penix is. Frankly, he showed some flashes last year when he came in to mop up the late part of the season, even though Atlanta technically, I guess, was still fighting for the playoffs. But we don't know who this guy is. We don't know if he's any good. So I wouldn't be in a rush to dive in bed with the Falcons. But then again, they're 4-1, even though Tampa Bay has won, 4 straight division titles, 4 straight division titles here, I believe it is. Atlanta's 4-1 against the spread and straight up in the last 6 meetings. Atlanta's kind of had Tampa Bay's number. They're 5-1 against the spread in the last 6. Tampa Bay has struggled with the Falcons. So I really don't see the books moving Tampa Bay to -3. I just don't think. I think if they do, there will be instant buyback on Atlanta getting 3 points at home, given their recent track record of success. So I think this number is going to be stuck at 2.5. If anything, we might see it come down to -2. Tampa Bay dealing with a little cluster injury issue with the receiver position. But this number is held firm through the summer. I think it can hold firm for 5 more days. All right, let's get into the 4 p.m. games on Sunday. Tennessee +8 at Denver. This line opened at -7. Denver was a buzzsaw during the preseason. Tennessee, rookie quarterback, first start on the road at altitude. Popular survivor pick on Denver. Again, I just don't see many guys wandering around the floor of Circa on Sunday holding tickets, waving tickets because they got down on the Titans. So this is another number I can see moving higher. I think it'll get to 8.5. I could even see it get to 9. I don't think the books will go much higher than that just because it is week 1 and wacky things happen. All right. San Francisco -2.5 at Seattle. San Francisco actually opened 1.5 in the summer. And even though they've had some issues going on, again, cluster injury problem at the receiver position, they're still pulling guys off the street, I feel like, and trying to stuff them on the roster because they need receivers. But Purdy's healthy, C-Mac's healthy, the defense, which lost a lot of depth, is moderately healthy. So San Francisco, everyone's anticipating the bounce back. They think that last year was a fluke. I didn't. I was the guy that had, I won my 8-unit futures play on San Francisco under last year, so I was anticipating their collapse. They're a good team. They're not what they were. Their Super Bowl window is decidedly shut. I don't care if they come out and do win 11 or 12 games this year. They have probably the easiest schedule in football this year. They should win 11 games this year if they're any good. Are they going to win this game at Seattle? I don't know, man. San Francisco's had Seattle's number. They're 6-1 straight up, 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. These two teams are rivals. But again, just like with that Tampa Bay game, books are baiting you a little bit. They won't give a full field goal to the home team. And even though this number has moved from 1.5 to 2.5, I don't see it moving to 3. I don't think it'll continue to move. I don't think there will be enough action on it to get it there. All right, Detroit +2.5 at Green Bay. The Packers did open at -1.5, but unlike that Dallas-Philadelphia game, this number started to move before the Micah Parsons deal. Okay, that might have given the ball a little momentum rolling downhill, but that is not why this number has moved. Okay, people like Green Bay. I'm selling Detroit a little bit. Frankly, Micah Parsons, they were talking about he needs an epidural to probably suit up in this game. I'm not expecting him to make an impact. I just think Green Bay, who, again, has lost 6 of 7 in this series, I think they're going to be a little better this year than they were last year, and they won 11 games last year. So we got them at home laying points. A little bit of a red flag that a team that won 15 games last year is an underdog in week 1. All right, Houston, +2.5 over the Rams. This number was at 3, firm 3 throughout camp. It got bet down because I think a lot of people were concerned about Matt Stafford. He is going to play. I think people are still a little worried about him. But he's going to play, and I think he's going to be fine in this game, so I wouldn't let that sway. If you like Houston, bet Houston. I do think this number could go back to 3. unlike Green Bay, Seattle, Atlanta, some of those games I think are going to be stuck at 2.5 or go the other way. Because this number spent so much time at 3, and because the fact that the Rams have been very much a trendy team, trendy pick throughout the offseason, I do think this number could bounce back up and you could get Houston +3. A lot of bettors that lose in the 1 o'clock games like to chase with favorites in the later games also, so that could push it. So if you like the Texans and you're only getting 2.5 right now, or you want to pop them in a teaser or something like that, wait, because I do think that this number will get to 3. We'll see if I'm right. Sunday Night Football, Baltimore at Buffalo, revenge game. Great playoff game. Probably the signature win of Josh Allen's career to this point is Buffalo beat Baltimore and Lamar Jackson 27-25 last January. A game more that Baltimore gave up than Buffalo won. If you remember, this was the Mark Andrews 2-point conversion game where he dropped what would have been the tying 2-point conversion. Now, Buffalo still would have gotten the ball back with under 2 minutes, I want to say, like 1:50, something like that, needing a field goal. So probably still would have won that game, but that one's got to be fresh for the Ravens, losing that game and going out the way that they did. This is actually the 5th meeting between these two teams since the playoffs in January of 2021. So not unlike Buffalo and Kansas City, this has been a burgeoning rivalry in the AFC. 2 of the best teams, probably 2 of the 4 best teams in football, and they just keep finding each other. You know, they keep winning their divisions, and division winners play each other in, you know, the next season, the way that the NFL does their weighted schedule. So this will be the 5th meeting, twice in the playoffs, twice in the regular season. This will be the 3rd time in the regular season since 2021. Buffalo has won 3 of those 4 and covered 3 of those 4 previous meeting. Buffalo is at home. They are not laying anything. It's -1. I'm seeing pick right now. Wouldn't be surprised if this was a pick game by kickoff. Last but not least, the only game that did this for all of the games on the schedule, you usually see this more than once, only game that did this. We have Minnesota -1.5 at Chicago on Monday Night Football. This is the only game that went through the 0. Chicago was favored when this number came out months ago. Favored all summer in this game. Obviously, the market doesn't like what they've been seeing and or hearing out of the Bears training camp. Again, new coach, new systems. Bears aren't very good, frankly. Minnesota has a better roster, although this is J.J. McCarthy. I guess we're going to call him a rookie. He is, right? Like, he has 1 year of service time towards his contract, but that's legal contractual stuff. He didn't play last year. He didn't even play in the preseason. He didn't even get a full preseason last year. So J.J. McCarthy, for all intents and purposes, kind of a rookie. Either way, he's a first-time starter making a start on the road on Monday Night Football. So this number's already moved 3 points. Now, again, part of it is the market not having a lot of faith in Chicago, as they shouldn't. Okay, they've been just as bad as the worst franchises in football over the last 30 years. So we absolutely should not be trusting the Bears. Also, Minnesota is 8-2 straight up, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 against the Chicago Bears. This is another game where, depending on how the public does on Sunday, public always loves to double down on Monday Night Football, right? You're in the hole, that's the game to get you back out. Public just pours money into favorites on Monday Night Football. That's what I could see them doing here. So I do think that this number, I think we could see it settle at 2.5. Like some of those other games, I don't think it'll get to 3. I just don't think there's going to be enough heavy money, enough sharp money coming in on Minnesota. So, all right, that's it. That's what we got for NFL Week 1. That's your opening line report. Keep an eye on some of these numbers. Remember some of the things that we talked about, and we'll see what the money does and what the numbers do. Remember, being a good winning handicapper doesn't mean you know a lot about sports. It's understanding the mathematics that are at work underlying these games on the field. So again, like and subscribe this video if you found it useful and helpful. You'll be alerted next week when I do this. Check out some of my other videos on the Doc Sports YouTube channel. Until next time, carpe diem and good luck.